Hi, welcome back to the Cuzzy Sound channel and another in the Little Boxes series. The Little Box this time is called Passive Aggressive. It's a circuit that I got from, and I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, so apologies, Jan Profrock Eurorack Patch Pals video series on YouTube. I'll put a link to it down there, and this was Patch Pal number 7, I think. It's a passive fuzz. But the thing about this, I played with passive fuzz before and never really had much success. The thing about this one, what attracted me to it is that it has the control in the middle there, which allows you to sweep between a back-to-back diode pair and an LED for the clipping side of the distortion. And there's about half a dozen components in it. So I thought, yeah, I'll have a go at building that and probably put it into a little box, which I have done, as you can see. So yeah, the link to the original, as I say, is down below this video. The circuit diagram, he gives a link to his circuit diagram, but the circuit diagram is very simple. It looks like this. If you want to get that, then get it from his site. What I did do for the Patch Pals, what he does, he wires everything together and puts it in a piece of shrink wrap, similar to some of the Patch Pal stuff that I've done. And it's a common way of doing these things. But like I say, I wanted to put this in a little box and do it in the Little Boxes series. So I did a strip board layout for it, and the strip board layout looks like this. Very, very simple. I will put this layout in the Dropbox and give a link below. But realistically, with this small number of components and such a simple circuit, you really ought to have a go at just working it out for yourself. It's part of the learning curve, and this is a really easy one to get going with. And so yeah, not a lot to it really. So I put it together and had a little play around with it, and then decided that I ought to put it in a box. And because it had got the LED in there, which lights up when, you'll see this because I'm going to do a demo of it, it lights up when it starts to get a signal passing through it. I thought, I'll take advantage of that. So I looked out for a box that had got a filigree type top, cutouts on there. So when it's in the box, it looks like this. You can see all the cutouts there. Really simple controls, an input and output, and then that mixed knob in the middle. Inside, it looks like this. And to enhance the glow from the LED, I've put some kitchen foil in the bottom of the box. There's no power supply, it's passive, so there's no need to worry about where you're going to put batteries or anything like that. And everything is just mounted on a metal strip that I've put across the top of the box there. Well, that's about it. There really is not a lot to it, but what does it do? Does it sound any good? Okay, let's go and have a listen. This is going to be a really quick demo. There's not a lot to demo really. So this is the passive aggressive passive fuzz. This is what I'm going to feed it. There's no point in feeding something like a square wave in there because you've already got a lot of harmonics in there, so it'd be difficult to hear any real difference. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to feed it with a triangle wave. It's a fairly low frequency one. I'll have a quick listen to what we're actually feeding into the box before we put it through there. So that's a triangle wave. Right, so if I take the output, put it into the output of passive aggressive, and put the output from the triangle wave into passive aggressive, and the control is set in the center, so it's halfway between the diode cluster, the back-to-back diodes, and the LED. Okay, let's turn it up and see what happens. Well, it's having some effect on it. If nothing else, it's cut down the volume. If I go towards this direction is diodes, not by the D here. Because it's passive, you're actually driving the signal from whatever's coming out of here, so there's no boosting, so it's kind of, you're losing quite a lot of gain going this direction. It's not as bad when I go in the other direction. So we've not lost quite as much gain, I've lost a bit. You can probably see that the diode is actually a lot brighter, because you can see it now shining through the box there, which was the whole intention of putting it, reason behind putting it in a box with the filigree cutouts and putting tinfoil inside so that it reflected the light. Just a bit of a visual effect. Is it fuzz distortion? Yeah, I'm not sure, probably not. However, there are a couple of sweet spots. Which kind of, there's a bit of fizz there. There's some pickup there. That seems to be the sweet spot for the LED. Around about there for the diodes. As far as distortion goes, it doesn't really do much. But what I do think is that there's a swept through it there, that some nice tonal changes. So it's not completely useless if I can use it to kind of adapt a bit of the tone. And of course, if you put something that's a boosted signal through there, then you push it more towards the clipping end of the diodes. But we're driving it with fairly low signals here. It's all 9-volt battery stuff in here. And this is just totally passive, so it's sucking the power out of this box. But there you go. If you fancy playing around with a passive fuzz system that has this kind of control that goes between back-to-back diode pairs through to LEDs, then yeah, it's a very simple circuit. Costs next to nothing to build. Now, what is there? There's about half a dozen components, and I've given you links to the original website where the circuit design comes from. There's a link to my strip board layout, although if you can't work this one out for yourself, then you know, you really ought to try. But you've got everything you need, so if you fancy having one, then go on, have a go. Build your own.